Good evening, dear students. Welcome back to my channel. In the previous videos, we have learned about how does the transportation occurs in the human. So in today's class, we will be learning about how does the transportation occurs in the plants. Okay. So here for the transportation to occur in the plants, it requires two important complexes or elements, so which is known as the xylem and as well as the phloem tissue. So together xylem and the phloem is what we call it as your vascular bundle. And you know that xylem helps in the transportation of the water and the phloem helps in the transportation of the food material or the soluble materials. Okay. So now even in your lower grades, you have learned what is meant by photosynthesis, which is nothing but the synthesis or preparation of the food using the carbon dioxide, water, and the main product which is formed is nothing but your food, which we call it as your glucose. Along with that, oxygen is released. So now how does the water generally helps? How does the water will be taken up by the plants, and however the food which is manufactured or synthesized, how it is synthesized throughout the plant body, we will be learning in today's session. So for example, if there is a shorter distance, which means there is a short distance between the root and as well as the stem or the aerial part, then the simple diffusion is enough. But what if there is a longer distance, right? So for that, it requires the xylem elements. So you know that xylem is made up of xylem vessels, xylem parenchyma, xylem fibers, okay? So these are the different elements of the xylem, okay? So here, if it is a short distance, okay, so it can be done by the diffusion process. But if it is a longer distance, what happens? It creates a root pressure. So once the root pressure is created, it helps in the transpiration process. So now what is meant by transpiration means the elimination of the water in the form of water droplets from the aerial parts of the plant body. So this ultimately helps to maintain the temperature in the plant. So due to which the xylem can easily transport the water. Okay, this is how the water is transported. Now, how does the transportation of food occurs? So, the transportation of the food occurs through the phloem elements. So, the phloem elements are nothing but your phloem parenchyma, phloem fibers, sieve tubes, and as well as the companion cells. Alright, so these are the elements of or the different types of the cells of the phloem. So, together we call it as a complex permanent tissue. So now how it occurs? So whatever the product which is formed by the photosynthesis, right? So it will be stored in the form of sucrose, right? So like the sucrose will be transported into the phloem through the ATP. So ATP is nothing but the energy provider, right? So due to which it increases the osmotic pressure in the plant body. So once the osmotic pressure is increased, it generally creates the pressure for the movement of the soluble material, which we call it as your translocation. So once the pressure is created, it helps or it allows the phloem to transport the materials. So this is how the phloem will be transporting these soluble materials in two ways. So that is the reason I have written it here bidirectional. So for example, here there is a leaf, right? It has prepared some food. So that food needs to be transported to the shoot tip and as well as the root tip. So that is the reason the phloem generally will be showing the bidirectional movement, but whereas xylem shows the unidirectional movement. So what is meant by unidirectional movement means, you know that how the water is transported, it is through the root only, right? So from the root to the shoot tip. So whether the water transport from the shoot tip to the root, no, right? So it's from the root to the shoot. So that is the reason the xylem shows this unidirectional movement. So this is how the elements or the soluble materials and even the water is generally transported throughout the plant body. So in the next session, in the next video, we will be learning about the kidney. Okay.
So thank you so much.